Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
The final 10 minutes of this course. Mrinali and I never imagined that we would talk to you about the final 10 minutes of this course, because we know we are taking on something massive and mammoth and really, really back-breaking work. But we were not really worried about the work, because the inspiration that we received when we learned biomimicry, and the influence that we had the opportunity we had for influencing lots and lots of people into thinking differently, into making them look at creativity in a completely new way, right? Was something that we would never have given up the opportunity of. Never. So final 10 minutes and all that. How does one end a 8-week course? How does one end it? Of course, the usual, if it's a speech, then one gives a vote of thanks and things like that. But this is not a speech. So I thought I will end it with some material that you can use from books. So I have about 6 book recommendations for you, and if you can get these books, and if you can actually write to us that you've got these books, I'm having the germ of a new idea. Maybe we can start a biomimicry club where we can discuss these books in detail. Some of you who have read these books can present these books, and the biomimicry club can start to flourish with all the inputs by the participants. You never know where a new initiative takes you, right? Look at all the initiatives around you. They all started small with 2 or 3 people, and then led on to something really, really big and important. I believe very strongly that if the intention of an initiative is noble enough, then there is nothing to stop the initiative from becoming a very, very huge, important initiative. So with that beginning, let me go to the books I have in mind for you. So books for inspiration, all books are for inspiration, which is why the title is appropriate. Biomimicry, we started this course with this book, the recommendation of this book. This book is special simply because it started the biomimicry revolution. I'm not going to give away the suspense. I think every one of us must have Janine Benyus's book in our shelves. Biomimicry and business brought a completely new perspective to biomimicry for me. It's got nice 5 or 6 case studies in business where biomimicry has been used successfully, and very nicely, easily, story-like, way of writing. I'm not going to again spoil the fun. Just get the book and remember the case studies. And very well written book. I think every one of us must have this on our shelves too. Shark's Paintbrush was a big surprise, because when I bought this book, I did not imagine that I would get so much information from. Shark's Paintbrush has got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of industries, inventions, patents that people have filed in and around biomimicry. The author himself is a very famous biomimic. So the most important part of the Shark's Paintbrush would be the reference section, because suddenly if you think, has there been any invention? Is any lab, is any university working on a particular problem? You just have to go to the reference section, because there are thousands of people all over the world working on biomimicry related solutions. And the shark's paintbrush captures them very well written, chapter wise, organism wise, species of organism wise, and all that. Again, I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but it's important that you have that book on your shelf. So you've got 3 books on your shelf. You've got Biomimicry, Innovation Inspired by Nature by Janet Van Hughes. You've got Biomimicry and Business by Margot Farnsworth. You've got Shark's Paintbrush by Jay Harmon. And this is a book I would put in any lecture, any presentation I give. It's called The Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge. This book was recommended to me by Mr. F.C. Kohli from TCS way back in 1993 when I first met him, and it has never left my sight after that. So the book is always with me. A copy of the book I always have. I recommend it to all my friends, and very appropriately, I was leafing through the book. Books have this magic, right? You can. I'm not going to claim that I've read every page of every book I'm talking about, but books are about. It's like storing grain, right? It's like storing atta and rice and all that. When you feel hungry, you go and take the rice and you eat it. It's not as if you know every grain of rice that's there in that. Similarly, books. When suddenly you feel like it, you need some information, you go to the book. The book is a storehouse of information and knowledge. It doesn't mean it has to be read from end to end. That's what I think books are about. So while I was leafing through the Fifth Discipline today, there's one on page number 57. It says today's problems come from yesterday's solutions. So brilliantly apt for biomimicry, right? So there's this question. There's the story of a carpet merchant. He's got this beautiful carpet, and he sees one small blob in the middle of the carpet. He goes and, as usual, just kicks, steps on that blob, and it goes somewhere else. And again, he steps on that. It goes somewhere else. So it keeps going from the carpet, under the carpet, under the carpet, and then ultimately a snake, slithers out of the carpet. But he finds that the entire carpet has been ruined. And so the law of the Fifth Discipline, that is one of the laws of the Fifth Discipline, the book, says that today's problems come from yesterday's solutions. Which means if we have a problem today, it's because of a solution that we came to yesterday. And if you look at the purpose of biomimicry, it's so apt, right? It's so apt that we got the solutions that the world has for fuel, for energy and everything, but those things have become a problem for us, just like for the carpet merchant. So read this book, put it on your shelf. Hopefully you can take a picture of these books on your shelf and send it to us. Thinking in systems, very similar to Peter Senge's Fifth Discipline, again about systems thinking. Donella Meadows, right, in a very, it's a little scholarly book, so you need to be at your best, at your thinking best to read the book. But again, a book that I will recommend. And finally, I want to come to the one book that brought in a new sense of a completely new way of thinking for me is Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. And it led me to understand not why I want to do biomimicry, but why is biomimicry even relevant? That is what the book taught me. So the book starts off very beautifully with the author of the book applying to an advertisement. So the advertisement appears in the paper. This is the advertisement in the paper. So the author of the book looks at that. He says, look at this advertisement. So funny, right? Teacher seeks pupil, must have an earnest desire to save the world, apply in person. So teacher seeks pupil, right? Normally we'll say pupils seek teachers. So he applies, Daniel Quinn, it's a story, it's a fiction of course. He applies, and then he goes into a dark room, and in the dark room there is a very dark portion of the room, and that's covered by a glass wall, and he looks across the glass wall and he sees a gorilla. And he's stunned. He says, what is a gorilla doing here? I'm looking for a teacher. And then the gorilla says, I am your teacher. And then starts the whole context of the book. This whole book is about, if I don't think I'll be doing justice to Daniel Quinn if I say the book is only about one thing. But what the book did for me was that it helped me understand that we as human beings look at the animal kingdom, look at the organisms as separate from us. There seems to be a separation, right? It looks as if in cross culture we keep saying we and them. So it looks as if it is we versus them being nature. And somehow, this is what, according to me, the book is about. It helps us understand that we have moved away from nature. Even though we are part of nature, we have moved away from nature, and that is why we have all the problems that we have. Because when we deal with human beings, we deal with them differently. But when we deal with nature, we deal with them differently. Why that difference? Is there really a difference between the natural world and the human world? And because we have moved away, because we look at them as separate and us as separate, we do all the harm that we do to the natural world. So this book is that, right? It is that perspective that this separation is why biomimicry is needed. If there was no separation, then you and I wouldn't be talking to each other today. There would be no need for biomimicry because we would understand. We would have automatically learned from nature. So that's what Ishmael is about. So read that book. It's amazing. These are the 6 books I thought I'll recommend to you before I go. I think I need to close now because we've been, like I said, very, very excited, and I must thank all of you for joining this course, for being with us, and we have some nice ideas for continuing. We're talking about the Biomimicry Club, and maybe we're talking about Biomimicry 2.0, where many of you can start to teach. So it's been a wonderful experience being with all of you. It's always very sad to leave, but leave we must, so that the journey continues. Maybe right now all of us are getting off the train, but maybe there's a new train somewhere, some other platform where we all will get into. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful meeting all of you. Thank you.